Hey everybody, welcome to Sew with Joe. Today I'd like to share with you a new technique on how to repair seams like this that have opened up. That and we'll share some good world news, so let's get into it. First thing I do, grab my big cushion needle and some heavy white thread. This is more of a medium white thread. Today what we're going to be talking about for Good World News is 10 skills that students think should be taught in school. And I'm sure everyone immediately has something come to mind. But this is what the students themselves feel should be taught, and what they feel should be stressed, and what they feel is important, basically. So if you have kids in school, or even if you're just trying to figure out kids these days, stay tuned. So what I do here first, what I was shown is you tie a knot and you go through from the inside and you have a nice clean finish. I'm not going to be that fancy. Just going to tie this off on the outside real quick. And what I would usually do in a situation like this is just stitch across, draw it all together. Make it look a little bit nicer. As you go through and across, but then you grab the inside lip and you go up and along it just a little bit. And then you go across. Try and keep everything super straight. Go along on the inside edge a little bit. All the way along, across. We're going to keep everything tucked as well. Across. So, number 10 on the list of things that kids think should be taught in school is metalworking. And I absolutely agree. Welders, blacksmiths, any sort of metal workers are absolutely valuable in society. Construction was number 9 that kids feel that should be taught. And with the housing booms that have been going on, it's probably a very good idea too. I hope you can see what I'm doing here. And just along the inside edge. Through and across. Now that we're getting close to this end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten it up, and boom. There it is. Snugs that all up real nice. There's a little bit left here, so over and across. And then go over through one more time. Make sure to get this all nice and tight. And then I'm going to just put in a couple of quick stitches. So you see a little bit of thread at each end. But keep your stitches small. You can barely see. This is very different from what I usually do. Probably could have tightened that up a little more down there. Well, that's okay. This is pretty much just the utility cushion for us. It's what I sit on when I make fires in the morning, or anytime. We have wood heat. So yeah, seam lets go, up, along, cross, up, cross, cross. I don't know if anybody else hears that. I keep hearing cows. Weird. I think we have a cattle farm that moved in across the creek. Cheers. They do tend to make noise. Now, another thing I'm going to try to do is, that's one technique for closing it up. I'm going to try another one for going over top and just kind of making a design. I don't know if I'm going to be able to replicate what I've seen, but I will, we'll see. Basically, you just do a regular stitch all the way across, and then on the way back, you loop through a few different ways. So, yeah, we'll see how that ends up looking. Try to get just even stitches straight across. So you go straight across here, and then up and at an angle over to the next one. So like so. You end up with a straight line across. Pull it straight over, and then you know where your entry point is. You can go at an angle over. Thing straight across. So number 8, top 10 things that kids think should be taught in school. Landscape design. You can see that there's a lot of value in public green spaces, and working with plants is very rewarding. I've done it. It's a lot of fun. Number 7 is auto body. So car repair is a lucrative, potentially I don't know if I'd say lucrative, but regular income. You know, and sometimes all you can hope for is regular income. It's one of those things that is pretty much always going to be needed because cars are always getting dinged up. So auto body, and the next one kind of related is welding and machining. Well, if you can weld and machine metal, you can build pretty much anything. And I think there's going to be more of a stress put on manufacturing of goods in North America as things get more expensive to come from elsewhere. Okay, so now that we've got everything through, what we do is we go back through the last straight stitch. Draw that tight, and then you go back through that loop that you just made. So we'll do that again and go to the next one. And this actually looks a lot nicer if you do it a lot tighter. If I were to do it again, and I might, this would be a much tighter stitch. So you go back through the straight loop, and then through that loop, and tighten everything up. Looks like I should have tightened everything up before I went back through the loop. I'll try that on the next one. Learning here. This is a new technique for me. Number 5 on the list that kids think should be taught in school was electronics repair. So who doesn't want to be able to fix their own electronics? Save themselves a whole bunch of money. Cheers. You know, you find a toaster that you really like, and all of a sudden it goes on the fritz and can't find them anymore. It's good to have the skills to be able to keep that piece of equipment going. Number 4 was auto mechanics and auto repair. Assuming that electric vehicle systems are going to be part of that. And the top three are interesting. Number 3, and I'm glad it's this high on the list. I really am. Number 3 is nursing. I think people have realized the value of nurses. I hope they have. Doesn't seem like some people have. But nursing came in at number 3. One thing that bugs me a little bit, and I get it, because you always need beauticians. Number 2, ahead of nursing, was cosmetology. Ahead of nursing. is cosmetology. And I get it, there's a lot more people who would rather deal with the beautiful side of life than the ugly side of life. It just, we need nurses. And the number one thing that your children, that students in high school think should be taught, is culinary arts. And I can see that because it's becoming a more gender neutral trade. You know, both men and women are really into the culinary arts side of life. I can see why that'd be number one. And everybody eats. You know, every restaurant needs a cook. You know, and the more quality cooks we can get out there, the better. So I think I was happier with this cushion if I would have stopped earlier and not done that pattern over top. But it doesn't really matter. It was an experiment. This was trying to just see how these things would turn out. And if I did go back and do a much tighter stitch, I think this would have looked a lot nicer. But running it on the inside worked really, really, really well. So that's probably what I'll stick with for next time. I might try that pattern somewhere else, somewhere that needs a little decoration, take some more time with it. Now, the one thing, if you do have kids and they don't want to get into any of those fields, there's always becoming royalty. And case in point, right now, there is a job opening on an English island, and they search for the new King of Peel, P-I-E-L. And what the King of Peel does is he manages the island. There is a 50-acre island, and it has an inn and suites called the Ship Inn Pub. There is also a derelict castle that I don't remember what the backstory was, but I think the Scots used it to invade England at one point. So there was a castle built there, and your duties as king are to maintain the island, welcome the guests, manage the pub, and look after the castle. And in order to become the King of Peel, you need to sign a 10-year contract. So you will be on this island for part of the year. You'll be alone. There's only one other permanent resident. So you'll be you, and they didn't even mention who this person was, so I don't know if it was not worth mentioning, and you might not want to be around this person, but I don't know. Anyways, one other permanent resident, and you have to sign a 10-year contract, and they anoint you in beer as part of their their welcoming ceremonies, and basically just put you outside with a bunch of people and dump a whole whack of beer over your head, and you're washed clean, I guess, so that you can be the King of Peel. So, interesting if you have any kids that like drinking a lot of beer and can manage an island and a pub. Submit your applications. I don't know if they've found anyone yet, so But yeah, that's how to kind of fix up a seam like that. I will, I'm sure, have more tutorials on similar things in the future. Thanks so much for joining me. I do appreciate the time we spend together, get to spend together. Wow. Oh, cheers. I have already had my cookie this morning, so till next time, keep chillin'. Don't forget you're a cookie. And, yeah. Peace.